Do you want to become an interior designer? I know I did, and I did it. And it was a great career, still is a great career, but it's particularly good for someone who maybe needs flexibility at home. Maybe you're raising children, or maybe there's another reason that you want to have some flexibility in your schedule and you want to have control over your schedule and your time. Well, an interior design business is a great way to do that, especially if you're a creative that really craves all that fun stuff. But starting your own business is no joke. So I want to make sure that you are equipped with some tools so that you know what you're getting into. Or if you're already in it, I want to help you so that you can really come up with something that you're proud of and feels great. I want you to learn from my successes, but also from my mistakes, which there are many of. So I am starting this series, Interior Design Business Coaching, and we're going to talk about some of the things that come up when you're starting an interior design business. Also, for a limited time, I'm going to be offering one-on-one interior design business coaching sessions. That is something you can access through my profile. You'll see my link tree, and in the link tree, there are all the links to reach out to me and one where you can book a session directly. So let's get started. The first question is, should you even become an interior designer? Well, the only person that can answer that is you. And you might be listening to this thinking, I've already decided that, thank you very much. And I felt that way too. When I was at the beginning of my career, there was kind of nothing that could stop me from moving on. But there are some things that maybe I didn't totally think about, or maybe I did think about them and I didn't care. I think that it's important to know, even if you are like me and you're thinking about them and you're not caring. So the first question is, do you want to own your own business? A lot of you are probably saying yes, and there is so much good that comes with owning your own business. Not the least of which is that you have power over your own schedule, you have control, and it also can be really beneficial for legitimate business write-offs can benefit your life in so many ways. So I definitely think owning your own business is a great thing to do. Just want you to know it is a big responsibility, and there are lots of perks to that responsibility, but make sure you know what you're getting into before you do it. I don't want to scare you off because the truth is I knew that starting a business would be a big responsibility, and I jumped in with both feet, even though I knew there would be things that came up along the way. I'm so glad I did, and you probably will be too. But I just want you to think about, as your business grows, you are responsible for your schedule. You're also responsible for every single thing that happens. So all the good things that happen, all the bad things that happen. And the more your business grows, the more you're responsible for those frustrating things that happen, and the less that you're responsible for the good things. You still get credit for the good things, but as you add people to your business, this becomes a lot more challenging. So this is what I want you to ask yourself. What is it that I want to do every day? Do I want to wake up and go meet with a client and help them pick some things out and come up with a plan and then go home and put it away? Well, that's the dream. It doesn't really come with owning your own business. Going out, meeting with clients, that is a fun part of becoming the interior designer, and I still get to do it all the time, and I love that part. But there's also the billing, the organization, and most of all, the making it all happen. That has been the part that has been the biggest challenge for me. Well, accounting's a big challenge too, but tracking things down, making sure they're where you need them to be. So the reason I'm pointing this out is because I want you to know before, or maybe you've already started your business, but I want you to be aware of what type of business you want to offer. I got into this thinking I just wanted to offer consultations. I just wanted to meet with people, bill them for my time, and give them ideas and then be done with it. But I quickly realized that it really wasn't possible at that level. When you are going in, people are inevitably going to want you to do more, which is a great problem to have. But then you become essentially a furniture, home goods business, whether you want to be or not. So that is the part that you really want to understand before you start selling things, okay? So maybe you want to get started just doing a consultation, but then you find someone wants to buy things, order things. This is when you really want to make yourself aware of what the options are, what you should do about it, and also you want to have a system set up so that you can do that clearly. So I'm going to get into all of this in this series, but today we're talking about should you become an interior designer? Now, I think you already know that you want to be, you're watching this video, but what I really urge you to do is, if you haven't already, get out there in some way. I highly recommend tagging along with a local interior designer if they'll allow you to. I had many friends, family of friends spend a day with me when I was growing my business. And that was always a fun day. And most of them wanted to go on and do design, but there were a few along the way that said, you know what? Actually, I think I like designing my own house, but I don't know if I want to do it for other people. So get out there. That's my first piece of advice, is really see what it's like. Spend a whole day with a designer if you can, and really see what it's like. That's also going to give you a lot of information for how they model their business and help you decide if that's the model that you like or if that's the model you don't like for your business. So the first thing is get out there, and a branch of getting out there might be doing it for someone else. Now, I have to warn you, that's not super easy. Just going and doing it, let's say for a friend or a family member, it seems like the easiest way to break in, but it's actually really challenging, because what you may find is that friend or family member wants your advice, but only to a degree. They don't necessarily value your advice as they might if they were paying a large sum for your time. So you need to have really clear expectations. Hey, I would like to help you with X room, or would you like my help with X room? If so, okay, let's set it up this way. And you can choose, because there is no right answer in how to set up a design business, a design consultation, or any type of situation. It could go so many different ways, and lots of them work well. It kind of depends on you, your client, and what you want out of your business. So what I might recommend is you tell your friend or family member, hey, I would love to help you with this space. Do you want me to help you? Okay, yes, you do. I would love to help you. I'm working on this as a potential career. So this is what I would like. And then determine how much time you'll spend with them. So maybe it's a small little project. Let's call it a nursery, because nurseries are great because everyone wants one. They want it to look beautiful. There's a deadline. They have to finish it within a reasonable amount of time. And they're usually not crazy expensive. I mean, they can be crazy expensive, but they don't need to be investment furniture because it only lasts a few years. So let's say it's a nursery. Okay, so I would like to help you with this. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking over the course of 4 weeks, we'll meet once a week for an hour and a half. And then in between, I'm going to spend time doing XYZ. And this is how it's going to last. Set it up with them before you start. Go into it with a professional atmosphere, not just hanging out. In many ways, it is more difficult to work with a family member or a friend because you are hanging out. You're used to that. You're comfortable with each other. You need to really kind of delineate your time so that they know this is our time that I'm working as your designer. Also, this happened on one of my very first jobs, helping a friend. I would give her advice and she liked most of it, but then maybe there would be something she'd go, I don't know if I'm going to do that. And I would say, finally, I got to the point where I said, I have a question. Am I doing this as your friend or as your designer? And that really hit home for her. And she was so much more appreciative and valued my time so much more after we made that distinction. She even said, she's like, well, I don't know, you're my friend. And then I was like, well, I'd like to be in this situation because it's a trial for me doing this as a potential career. I'd like to be your designer. And she said, okay. And from there, it went so smoothly. She turned out to be one of the best clients and one of the best at referring. But that's not the point. The point is, helping a family or a family member or a friend is a great way to get your feet wet and really start to understand what it means to work as an interior designer and to potentially have your own interior design business. But I want you to be extremely clear and very professional about what that relationship is. And of course, you don't know exactly what you can offer them yet, but that's why you're doing it for a friend or family member. If you did, you would charge a stranger. So this is why we're setting it up this way. You're going to go in there and say, here's what I know I want to start with, and see how it goes. And that experience could really turn you on to design, which you're already turned on, you're here. But it might also make you realize, you know what, this isn't really the stuff I want to be dealing with. Maybe I'm still going to help family members and friends, but maybe I'm not going to do it on a professional basis for whatever reason. So having experiences like this is going to be the best way to understand if you want to start your own interior design business. And by the way, you can work as an interior designer without starting your own business very easily. Now, I understand that in many situations, this will turn into a full-time job, and that may or may not be what you want. There are many times where I think, man, I kind of wish I had gone down that route of working for a firm and really getting exposure that way. But I wanted my own business, and I wanted it soon. So I had to get out there and get started. But you don't necessarily have to do that, and you might find as much joy doing it in other ways. So a couple suggestions. First of all, I personally got my feet wet working at a furniture type business. I actually worked at Calico Home, which sells window treatments and furniture, and that was the best training I could have ever asked for. During that time, which by the way, you make very little money, and you have very high quotas to meet, but it was worth it because during that time, I learned so much about what the technical aspects were that I needed. Even if you've been to design school, especially if you've been to design school, you know how little you really know. I am amazed when I work with designers who are out of design school and they don't know a single thing about window treatments. I mean, that is a big part of this job, whether you consider yourself a top high-end designer or just a friend that helps people. Window treatments are a thing that we really need to know. So getting that real life experience is great. And by the way, that might be just the right exposure for you. You might go work at a place like Restoration Hardware and you might love that. That might scratch the itch of designing, but under someone else's roof, under someone else's umbrella of taking care of the problems, right? So there are so many ways to get the exposure, and you really won't know what direction your career should take until you get that exposure. So I highly recommend you do it. Go out, see what's out there. There's some great furniture stores that maybe they'll even hire you on a part-time basis. And there are definitely designers out there that will not only let you ride along with them, but maybe they'll do what I did, which worked to varying degrees, which was I had designers that would come train with me and then they would work under my umbrella. I still have a designer that works with me. She has her own book of clients. She runs her own business, but I take care of the major overarching things. So for example, I'm the one that does her billing. I'm the one that helps her when things come up like technical aspects of window treatments, or where should I look for furniture, or sometimes just to bounce ideas off of each other. We are there for each other, and I'm the one that owns also the problems. So if something comes up, we are a team, but if something comes up, it's really my business that is going to be behind it. I'm the one that talks to the client if a problem comes up that it doesn't make sense for her to handle. So there might be designers in your area that would love to have someone like you who can do all the things, but maybe you don't want to have the responsibility of the business, and they may or may not want the responsibility of the business, but they're doing it anyway, so they might as well do more, and then they take a cut of what you make in exchange for that. So that might be an option for you too. There are so many ways to go. There are so many fun things to do, and now is the best time, in my opinion, to become an interior designer. In the past, even when I started 15 years ago, it was guarded. It was guarded by there were groups that had to have certain certifications, and in some states those still exist, but the materials were highly guarded. Now, because of the internet, because of social media, pretty much everyone has access to everything. You might be able to get a slightly better discount as a designer, but you can pretty much get everything. When I started, that was not the case. You had to have an in. You had to build accounts. You had to work with reps, which we will talk about that. Those are great resources, and we will get there, and that's in this series. But right now, I'm really just talking about getting started. And I want you to know that it is a great time to get started because you have unfettered access to things that people starting in the past did not. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I'm excited about talking with you about this. If you're interested in talking one-on-one, please go to my bio. There is a link in my link tree where you can book some time and we can talk about your business or your career. Maybe you haven't even started. I can give you some pointers for how to make the most out of what you want to do. It is a fun way to get started, a fun way to dip in your toes. And stay tuned because I plan to make more videos like this, and we will talk more about what it means to start your own interior design business or another career in interior design. So thank you so much for joining me. I love talking with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.